Hello and welcome to Dice Jesters. My name is Julie.
And my name is Dave.
And we are a merry and whimsical board gaming podcast where we dive deep into games with curious minds and a jester's grin. We feature 10x10 challenges where each season we commit to playing 10 games at least 10 times, sometimes more, you never know. And today we'll be discussing our recent plays of the games Dracula vs. Van Helsing and Sweet and Spicy, as well as an update on if Ark Nova will be facing the trials of the Jester's Gambit. But first, Dave,
yes,
I've come prepared with a query for the court for your consideration.
For my consideration.
For your consideration.
How wonderful. I can't wait to hear from the Jester Queen.
Oh my god.
What the query for the court is this week.
Okay, honestly though, you know how cool it would be to be a Jester's Queen though? That would be pretty sick because Jesters in history, you know, have always gotten away with poking fun at the higher, like, kings, queens, monarch, you know?
The Jester's
so that'd
privilege.
That'd be pretty cool to be Jester's Queen, giving away Jester's privilege, you know? In all honesty, when I was younger, and still today, yes, in real life, I was a jester.
This is a fact.
This is a fact.
There's photo evidence.
And which I've showed you,
and
reluctantly.
An incredibly touching backstory to it.
Anyways, but growing up, though, I always wanted to be a knight. And I was told, oh, you know, like, usually males are knights. But no, I wanted to be a knight. And I didn't want to be just any knight. I wanted to be the king's knight.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to be, like, the baddie that sat next to the king, you know?
Yeah.
And then anytime somebody acted a fool, I, like, stand up and have my sword that would be shorter than other people's swords because I am so short and swords are built based off of your height. So naturally, my hilt would be shorter than most.
Could you be both, though? You could be like the king's hand or the king's protector, but then also have the juggling capabilities and the wit of the jester as well. You could provide the jokes and the armor.
I don't think you get both. I don't think back then you got both.
But that encompasses, like, your multifaceted personality. The jester side and a highly intellectual side and all of these other aspects as well. You're a very whole-brained individual, I would say.
Hey, well, you know, there was that one job that I had in the past.
Yes. Where
they made us take the test. I'm not going to name the test because I'm pretty sure it's specific to them.
I don't think so, but we'll, for the sake of being extra, an abundance of
caution. Yeah. But they had us take a test, and in the test, you could be... Usually it was you were upper brain, lower brain, right, lower brain left, upper brain right, upper brain left.
Yeah.
If you were, I think, the right side, that was the more, like, analytical side. The other side was more, like, party, emotionally side.
I think you have them opposite, but Same idea.
Well, one side was artistic.
Yes.
One side was more, like...
Analytical. Yeah. Data-driven, numbers, processes, all that stuff.
Right. And only 2% of people who have taken this test, which has been, let's see, my number was...
You remember your number that they assigned you?
Oh, I remember it was... I'm just gonna... So out of, like, 100... I didn't want to say my number, because what if somebody Googles my number?
That would be absolutely...
That'd be insane.
Wild.
Okay, well, out of 100, at least 130,000. You're like, okay, so your number for sure starts with 13. I'm like, okay, thank you. Yes, I get it. But out of at least 130,000 people, I was the 2% that is whole-brained.
Wow, I was close. I was close to being
No. I saw your graph.
It's, like, slightly tilted, but
I love how you told me that when I told you, and I was like, oh, I'm whole-brained. I'm a perfect square. Except for when I'm stressed. When I'm stressed, I am not a perfect square.
You're not.
No. When I'm stressed, all of the red goes away, so all of the emotions go out, and the very analytical side of my brain kicks in. So prior to this test, I had always told everybody, I was just like, hey, like, let's not make this into something bigger than it is, because I guarantee that I will think in a way that you won't like, because you'll want me to react to the emotions you're having, but I won't be able to because I'll be stressed.
I'm actually I don't know, we've probably talked about this, but I'm the same way when I get stressed. I lose the emotional empathy and I go straight into analyzing and being... So I have to like step back and remember if somebody is highly emotional about something, like acknowledge their emotion. I know we're going down a whole tangent.
Yeah, we're going down a whole tangent.
But I could come across as heartless if I'm in a very stressed state. Like, here's what needs to be done. We're going to do it. We're going to figure out a way.
But, all that being said, I'm a perfect square. So, if there was something back in the day where it did, like, a knight that could also juggle...
That would be you.
That would be me.
And you could also cook, too.
Cook.
You cook and be very athletic.
Well, that's what the full square is. I'm just full brain.
But you'd also be like the scholarly professor up in the tower, you know, studying in the library. And
so I like
books
teach them in my knight outfit, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't even take my knight uniform off. I go into the king's court and I juggle my swords.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I have my swords on me to be prepared to defend said king.
Wait, was this your question of the week?
No, this wasn't my question of the week. We were just talking about the Queen of Jesters.
Sometimes this is how we talk every day. We just...
Don't worry, I was going to circle back.
Bizarre topics. You're not the jester to anybody. You're just your own jester.
I used to be a jester to somebody.
I've been a joke to my parents my whole life.
Just kidding. Oh my gosh, I have to show you my senior yearbook. I had this, my physics teacher. He put good luck in clown school. I'm not kidding. He wrote this whole thing about it.
Oh, can I tell you something funny?
What?
So when I was in high school, I don't know how I answered the questions, how it came to this conclusion, but when I was in the 9th grade, we had to take an aptitude test.
Oh, nice.
Where we had to do this whole personality assessment of things that you're good at to help point you in the direction of your career, you know, college, what you want to study. When I took the aptitude test, it suggested that I become a clown.
Mine suggested engineer.
Okay, artist. That checks. Yeah, so take that for what you will.
The clown part's funny.
I never thought I would be a clown.
If it makes you feel better, when I was in 8th grade, I had a social studies teacher who was giving out jobs for some, I don't know, obviously social studies, it was probably something, social exercise, and she was giving out jobs to us, right? And one of the jobs that she gave was one of the individuals, like a saddle boy, who cleans up after the horses, you know? And then she was like, Julie, this is what you're going to be. And I said, why? There's so many other better choices.
Yeah.
And she was like, because you're too nice to say no. And I was like, no, this is something I can say no to.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, too bad. I already thought this through. So that was my role for that class.
That's funny.
But that brings me to the query for the court. And I was okay with, you know, kind of going long on the, if I'm the jester queen or whatever, is because this question is just meant to kind of catch you off guard and get you recorded so that I have the evidence. And you're like, the evidence? What are we talking about? And I'm just like, no, we talked about this before and you kind of like laughed at me, but I was being so serious. But my query for the court today, specifically for you, David, there's no maybe. It's yes or no.
Okay.
And that is, will you? We could even, like, go rent the game. Or we can go to the local library. I'm sure they have it.
I'm scared.
Why are you scared? It's not Monopoly. Why are you saying, what? What are you laughing about?
I don't know. Tell me, what is it?
Would you play Boggle with me?
Boggle?
Yes.
What? Okay, that's the one with like, the timer. I don't remember what Boggle is.
So Boggle has these dice that have different letters on them, right?
Yeah.
And it's in one of those scary shakers, kind of like Trouble.
Oh,
and you
is
shake it really hard. No, it's not Pop-O-Matic. You shake it. And you shake it. And then you put the letters down. And then you put it on the table. And then you lift off the cover, right? And then, you set a timer of some sort. And then you come up with as many words as possible. More than your other player.
But it's time-based, right?
It's time-based. And then it's kind of like you have to connect the letters. So it has to be connected somehow. And then you have to show the other person because they can audit you.
Oh, okay. I do like word games.
Yes.
There's a game that I have in the closet, Letter Tycoon, which I really like.
Is that similar to Boggle?
Well, it's a word game. You build out some words, but it's not time-based.
But I don't want a crossword puzzle. Is it crossword?
No. It's kind of like you play cards to build a word. But then it's an economic game where you can buy patents for letters. So when other people use that letter, you get money. You collect money on it.
So it's like Monopoly. Mixed with Boggle.
It has an economic aspect. Yes. Mixed with Boggle. But yeah, I would play it. Time-based games or real-time or whatever the term is, where there's a timer and you're like racing against the clock. And anyway, those games make me feel a certain way.
Well,
the word is stress. They create stress. It's like when we're playing a game and you're waiting for me to take my turn and you have that little clicker thing and you're you start clicking faster and faster.
It's like your timer.
Yeah.
Hurry up.
So growing up, I always wanted to be in a chess club. Never got to be in a chess club. You're
not fast enough.
But the thought of that timer gives me so much anxiety, knowing that it's my turn. My turns don't take abnormally long. I know that you joke when we play Dominion and I play like 17 festivals in a row. And you get up and you like go to the beach and you come back and I'm still taking my turn. But realistically, I don't have that much analysis paralysis. Like I usually take my turns pretty quick. Maybe take a second to think about what I'm going to do, but I won't sit there forever. I'll just make a decision because I don't want other people to wait for me. But when I feel that pressure, it's just like knowing that that clock is ticking and there's only a certain amount of time that you have when you're playing the game, that fills me with very anxious feelings. But yes, I will play the game with you.
Yes. What have I told you that you're allowed to use different languages? Because that's what I did.
Okay.
So growing up, I had played with my step-grandmother.
Yeah.
And, well, she's like my step-step. Because she was a... Anyways, we don't need to go down my family tree of twisted branches. So with that, when we were playing, I had used some words from another language, and she was trying to tell me that I was wrong, and I was like, no, this is Visaya. Like, ha!
Yeah, even better. If I could learn some words in another language, that would be cool. I know English and Spanish.
Yeah, you could use Spanish.
Yeah.
If you wanted.
That'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a cool challenge.
Yeah, there you go. You just have to prove it. But yeah, so I wanted to ask you if you wanted to play Boggle with me because I love Boggle. I love those stressful games.
Hey, I'm down to play any game. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want to play a game, just ask and we can go find it. But I was surprised. I walked into our local library down the street and they had a selection of games on the shelf. And I've seen people posting pictures from around the country where their library has games, and I always thought that was cool, but the library I went to never had it. But then moved to a different area of town. In this county, the library has a selection of board games, and I'm excited about that because I was scrolling through the catalog, and there's actually some surprising titles in there that you wouldn't think would be at a library. You would think, okay, Apples to Apples, Monopoly, Boggle, fill in the blank.
I've never played that.
But no, there's some pretty deep cut strategy games in there, so I'll be wanting to check that out. But I'll see if Boggle's on the list. We can go swing by.
Yes.
I saw Galaxy Trucker on the shelf. I've always wanted to play that. That's actually a real-time game, too. Oh. You're like, okay, you wanted to play that.
Yeah, you want to.
But this has a quirky theme of building a spaceship, and then you have to... The second half of the game, there's like all these asteroids and stuff coming through and blow up your ship, but you have to see how good of a ship you made. It just seems like kind of fun, so...
Yeah. Well, speaking of timers and everything, you and I know that we're going to get into the games that we highlighted for this episode, but before we get into that, we did play some chess.
Oh!
Yeah, we played 2 rounds.
We did play 2 rounds of chess. And
2 games, 2 rounds.
2 rounds, games.
Technically, a game is a round.
Yeah, so how
was it, Dave?
I always enjoy coming back to chess. And I'd be curious to what people think out there. Do you think of chess as a board game? For some reason, it's like this side hobby that doesn't overlap with like board gamers. You don't hear a lot of board gamers who play chess, but you and I both grew up playing chess, and I liken the experience when we sit down to play a round of chess. It's the same as sitting down to play a different game. So,
well, for chess, you learned from your grandpa and your uncle, right?
My uncle, yeah.
Your uncle. I learned chess just by myself. Yeah, because I saw this one kid playing it, and I wanted to play. So I just watched and saw the pieces moved, and then I sat down and played it.
You're like that girl from the King's Gambit when she was laying in bed, she could see the pieces moving on the ceiling.
That explains so much now. I always wondered what you meant by the correlation between the two, right?
Yeah, you remind me a lot of the main character of that show.
Thank you. I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Well, okay. Not the easiest of upbringings, and then you learn how to play chess. And just learned it on your own, basically, from some random person, but then you became really good at it.
Right. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just interesting how, because I've met your uncle, so having him talk about chess, it seems like he had taught you a lot of game moves. Like, if you want to control the middle, you want to do this, you want to do that. This is like the Queen's Gambit. This is that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is how you move your rooks if you want to move your king. And I didn't learn any of that. So playing you, I remember when we had played for the first time, you were confused on what I was doing.
Your turns, the way that you play is not by the script. Like,
right. And you're like, you're chaotic.
You're very chaotic. But it's not like, you know, if you play like a kid in chess, like they're going to make moves that don't make sense. The moves that you make aren't what you would see in any like strategy guide or anything like that, or the typical opening moves. But then the way that you go about it makes sense. You're like, okay, I see what you were doing here. You're moving that to block me from that. But it's just not like you can go and watch YouTube videos of like, oh, your classic chess openings are mid-game or late game. But the way that you play doesn't fit into any of those styles.
Yeah.
And the way that my uncle taught me, because he grew up being in chess clubs and tournaments and all that kind of stuff. I think his approach to teaching me was very theoretical based, and yours is just through your own learned experience of playing the game, which is cool too.
Yeah. We could go down a whole thing about chess. Maybe we'll do it for our Patreon.
Chess.
We should do that.
Yeah.
For a Patreon episode, we should discuss chess and how I go about it and how you go about it, just because this episode isn't about that. This episode is about Van Helsing. And
Dracula versus Van Helsing.
And Sweet and Spicy.
Yeah.
So we play Dracula versus Van Helsing as a resummoning. That resummoning is because spooky season's coming up. You can't see this because this is only audio, but I'm waving my hands about. And it was a game that we had played initially when we were going from season 1 to season 2. Mm-hmm. We played it during a break, and the break was during spooky season. So we had played a bunch of like Halloween horror themed games, and Dracula vs. Van Helsing was one of them. If you are unfamiliar with the game, it is a trick-taking game, basically.
I mean, kind of. It has elements of trump suit and then a hierarchy of colors and stuff, but the style that you play the tile card type things isn't necessarily trick-taking.
I don't know what it is. So there's a board in the middle, which has village people, and one person plays Dracula, one person plays Van Helsing. And if you're playing Van Helsing, you're going to want to try to take Dracula's hearts that have stakes through them, because that's how you kill a vampire. And then if you are Dracula, you are going to change the villagers into vampires. So when you're looking at the board, there's a color that's on the top of the other colors. There's 4 separate colors. Whatever color is on top of the other 3, that is the color you're going for. That trumps all other colors. So you could have a 1 in that color, and somebody could have an 8 in a different color, but you would still win due to that color being above all else. Then each cards, 1 through 8, has their own little effect on them that you have to follow if you decide to discard that card. So, for example, 1 means that you have to reveal one of your cards. So if you want to get rid of the 1 in hopes of getting a higher number, or the trump color, if you will, you would have to discard the 1. Discarding the 1 would make you reveal something else, and then all the other numbers have something unique with them as well. 8 ends the game. After 6 cards have been discarded, then you can discard an 8 to end it, and then that doesn't let your opponent have another turn. Otherwise, you can also just say, I'm ending the game, and then your opponent does get another turn. But again, that has to be after 6 cards have been discarded. At the end of the back and forth round, you reveal all the cards, and then you go back and forth to see who won out of that set that's directly across from each other. So depending on if you won or not, if you're Dracula, you would flip over one of the villagers to make them a vampire. If you're Van Helsing, you would take a heart from the Dracula. And then whomever gets either all the villagers or all the hearts or the most prior to the ship leaving for sea or porting.
Yeah,
I don't
like
really know what the
rounds.
ship's doing.
Yeah.
That is how you designate the winner.
Yeah, in the Dracula, you just have to get 4 villagers in one district to win the game.
Oh yeah, there you go. So yeah. I was very impressed when I originally opened this box. I think we do have an unboxing of it.
Maybe.
In our early YouTube. I'm not sure if I took it off or not, just because it was pretty early for us.
We're experimenting.
Right, but if it's still there, I'd race. I'd race to go see it before I do took it off. How about that? There's a cool coffin in it that when you open it, that it holds some of the game pieces.
Yeah, and the card holders are these really thick feeling,
yes.
which are really nice.
I love all those aspects of the game except for whatever material the cards are made out of.
The tile cards.
Because they're so hard to pick up.
Yeah.
They're so hard.
And they're harder to shuffle because each round, the game has I think 5 rounds, and you just go back and forth, and then we go to the next round. But in between rounds, you have to reshuffle all the tile cards, so it takes a significant amount of time. That is the only negative thing I'll say about the game, is just the physical aspect of shuffling those tiles. I kind of wish that they'd just been cards in some way, like even those mini-sized cards that you see in some games. Most recently, A Feast for Odin had those, about that size.
Honestly, I can't remember.
Or those occupation cards, or the weapon cards and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that size would be perfect.
That would be, and those cards weren't difficult to handle.
Yeah, but in terms of gameplay itself, I know we played this game. It's hard to believe it's been about a year, and I originally got the game knowing that we both love Halloween. Saw the artist was Weberson Santiago, which he did the artwork for the Bloody Inn, and I just love that horror style that he implements in his artistic design of games. I really like. And anyway, after it's been about a year, we liked it a lot the first time I played it. What did you think this time? Has your perspective changed at all now that we've played a lot of other games?
No, I still like it. I like how it has the very back and forth aspect. It feels very interactive between the players, which is something that I personally really enjoy in games. So anytime there's interactive between us, it makes me like a game. So with that, and it also has like a mystery aspect too, because you don't know what cards the other person has.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to guess what they're getting rid of and what they're trading it for. So maybe they got rid of an 8 of something, and you're wondering why they got, well, not maybe an 8, because an 8 ends the game, a 7. And you're wondering why they got rid of the 7. Is it just to change the colors? And they changed the colors, so how many colors do they have in their hand? So I like that aspect too. It just tickles my brain.
Yeah, and I do really, really like how you get these little bits of information about what's on your opponent's side. Some effects make them have to put a card in front of them, in front of a district, so you know what they're going to play there. Or you can swap cards with your opponent, so then you have that. Or there's another effect that makes you flip over the top card of the deck, so then you see what your opponent grabs. So you kind of piece bit by bit together on what areas you're strong in and better at your opponent, which ones maybe not, or something you don't know. But then there's also this really good game arc in terms of, in the beginning of the game, if you're playing the Dracula side, you don't have many villagers that you flipped over, like maybe 1 or 2 there. But then as the game progresses, there might be a district where you have 3 villagers and you just need 1 more to win, so you're really focused on that one district. So I can ignore this one over here, but I'm going to swap my cards to make sure that the highest suit gets here. Oh man, you changed the order of the suits. Now I need to rearrange things again and try to beat it. So it's really interactive, but in the right ways with that back and forth and trying to outmaneuver your opponent and guess what they have. And to me, both sides don't feel that different. Like you have the same goal of trying to win in the different areas, but the way that you focus that as Dracula, I think is really interesting too. I really like this game a lot.
Yeah, I think if you play as Dracula, it feels a little different.
Yeah.
Because it feels like you're running away. It feels like you're running away, but also trying to get things, I
do know that we played this game around the same time as Jekyll vs. Hyde, which is an actual 2-player trick-taking game. And I think we played that one first and then played Dracula vs. Van Helsing afterward. And you like this one a lot more because there's something about Jekyll vs. Hyde I can't quite remember, but that game didn't really quite land with you.
No, I did terrible.
You did terribly, but it was too swingy. There was something about it that you just didn't have as much fun. But then we got to this, and it might just be that each tile card has its own effect. And
I think this one's more fair. I think the Jekyll versus Hyde one, I think if you played one of the players, and I felt that player was easier to win as.
And I think it's a game that requires you to play more than once in a row. I think the rulebook says play 3 times, and then whoever had the most points.
And then you flip in something.
I'm not a fan in general whenever a game makes you play it several times in a row to balance things out. I do, the exception to that, I do really like Lost Cities, but it stretches the game from being what could just be like a 10-minute, we're going to sit down and play this, to now this is a 45-plus minute experience for a very lightweight card game. Sometimes I just want that 10-minute experience, but if the game is so random and swingy that you can't get that experience within that one game, then I'm not as interested in it.
Yeah. I think Dracula versus Van Helsing as well is easy to teach others. The only learning curve would be just the different icons of what the cards do, but it's pretty easy to pick up because we hadn't played it for a year, and there was only a few icons that I needed to reference the rulebook for. So
other than that, we just jumped right back in.
So you can play with other people, like if you're having a Halloween party and you're like for Halloween games, here's the game for ya. I am not sponsored by them.
So you'd have to if you were at a Halloween party, find someone who just wants to play
maybe if you're
games.
At a Halloween party, there's that one other person that would like to play board games.
You're like, you seem like you don't like parties either. Let's go play a game.
Yeah. And they're like, thank God you brought this game.
Yeah. That was me at when we, in middle school or whatever, when we had the school social dances and stuff. You'd always find me in the room playing the games and stuff.
Why'd you even go to this dances if you weren't going to dance? I wasn't allowed to. I had to go back into, my tower.
Your tower. Your Jester's tower.
Yeah.
So that was the first game that we played this week. And then the other game was a newcomer to the court.
Yes.
And that was Sweet and Spicy.
So cute.
How did we find this game?
How did we acquire the game? I use the correct board gaming terminology. Yeah. Look at that. So we had gone to Mox. When you're at Mox, if you play games, you get 10% off games. I wanted this game because it had cats on it. It had little kitties. There's a pepper shaker that has a cat who seems as if he's very sneezy from smelling all the peppers, the smelling salts. He's also eating it. And then it has a lemon one. And that kitty has sour face everywhere. So cute. And then the other one has hot chilies. And of course, it's an orange kitty that's dealing with the hot pepper chili things. And his mouth is on fire. So hot. He's breathing fire. So cute. But then 5, he looks like he's enjoying it. Lupin enjoys Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
So what is this game actually about?
Other than being absolutely adorable.
And by the way, Mox Boarding House is a really cool place. And that's, where we picked this up. Saw it on the shelf. And you just knew we had to have it. But we haven't played it yet. So I was like, now's the time. Let's play Sweet and Spicy. So sweet, so spicy, so cute. In between rounds of Ark Nova, a very big game. Sometimes it's fun to throw down a quick little card game, and this is kind of that. So what do we do in this game? What is it about? I don't know what this game is called. Technically, all I know... It's a bluffing game. Yes, I love it! I love it, because I'm all I'm going to call this blue one pepper, knowing that Dave thinks it means the red one, so if I end up laying a red one down, he goes, I challenge it. And then it's not challenged because he thinks I'm doing the red one. Sorry, I just love this game so much. There's another game that's similar to this. I think it's exact replica of this, just different art, and that's the tiger game. There's a tiger. I think it's called... Isn't it called Hot and Spicy? Hot and Spicy, yeah. This is called Sweet and Spicy. What's sweet? The lemon? Because you have a pepper shaker, a lemon, and a chili. So what part is sweet? But no, I love this game. You're like, yeah, you've said that. And I'm like, okay. You still haven't explained what we do in the game. Oh, I know you wanted me to explain it. Okay, so you have this card that's super cool. See, I didn't use the word cute. Oh, it has a little kitty scratcher in the background. Okay, I'm going to explain it. No, I'm going to explain it. I am explaining it. So you
have this card and you have the deck and you place it next to the deck, and where the line falls, that's where you place it into the deck. So if you're playing a 2-player game, you go to the 2-player line, then you cut the deck there and you shove it in. If you're playing 3 to 4, cut it at the 3 to 4 line, put the card in. If you're playing 5 to 6, cut it at the 5 to 6 line, put the card in. So that just kind of designates the end of the game if you don't hit any other end of game criteria. So you start with cards in your hand, and what is it, like 5 cards?
5 cards,
there you go. I didn't want anybody to be like, well, how many cards, Julie? Maybe you should have let Dave explain it. And I'm all like, we're here for my journey, okay? And they're like, we want to hear more from Dave. I'm like, great. You're like, why are you doing this thing with your hand? I'm like, because it's like puppets. I'm like, because I'm a jester. We do jestery things. So with that, with your 5 cards, you start with 1 through 3. It could be a pepper. It could be a chili. It could be a lemon. Whatever your heart desires, 1 through 3. And then you lay it down. And then after that, it goes back and forth. And then you can call each other's bluff. So let's say I don't have any lemons and the starting player had stated lemons. And you have to go always higher. So if someone laid down a 1, you need to lay down a 2 and higher. If someone laid down a 3, 4 and higher, like et cetera, et cetera. And so if it's all lemons and I don't have a lemon, but I don't want to draw a new card, I may want to bluff and I may want to put whatever I do have in my hand down. So maybe I have a 1 pepper. Well, that's okay. I'm going to call that 1 pepper a 10 lemon. And Dave's going to decide if he wants to challenge me or not. If he doesn't challenge me, I'm safe.
I probably will.
Yes, you challenged me so many times for no reason. Because my face was the same the whole time.
There's a little smirk when you're like, oh, this is a 10 lemon.
There was no smirk. I made sure that my face was leveled. Anyways, so then with that, obviously, as Dave stated, that he challenged me all the time, and if he gets it right, so what he has to do is either challenge the food and or the number. If he challenges the number and gets it wrong, I get the pile. If he gets it right, he gets the pile. Same with the food. If he challenges the food and gets it wrong, I get the pile. If he gets it right, he gets the pile.
Right.
And then, yeah.
Yeah, if you deplete your hand, then you get a trophy card that's worth 10 points. And then as soon as a player gets 2 trophies, or you get to the final card in the deck, then the game ends. And cards are worth points. I think wild cards are worth extra points in front of you. So, yeah. What do you like this game?
I love this game.
We have a
You're
lot
like,
of fun.
you lose at this game.
What's
I'm like,
funny
I don't
is
care.
like, okay, so I don't think that this game is best as a 2-player game. I'll say that if you want like the ideal experience, I'm thinking like 3 to 5, probably 3 or 4 would be like perfect. But this is the perfect example of you can go online and like go on BGG, not play a game because you're not within the recommended player count and stuff. But we had a blast playing this just as a 2-player game because we're going back and forth. Like, oh, I'm going to play a 3 pepper, and then I kind of like smirk to make you think I'm lying, and then you challenge me, and then I'm telling the truth. I love doing that. And it took us like 5 minutes to get through a round. It was super fun. And I do like that when you challenge somebody, you have to be specific. You're either challenging on the quote-unquote suit or the number. And then if you, let's say you play down a 10, you actually play a 10 lemon, but you said it was like a 7 pepper or something. And I say, oh, I'm going to challenge you on the 7, even if like you had actually played the suit incorrect. If what you played matched what I challenged and that was correct, then you wouldn't lose the challenge, even if you were like lying about the other components. So I thought that was really interesting and fun. But yeah. Any other thoughts on the game?
It's so cute. So cute. Bring you back to season 1, Julie.
Yeah, this game reminded me of when you first got into the hobby and you were like, we would go into game stores and you'd be like, oh, I want this game. I want this game. And so we started acquiring games that had cute art. And then you were like, oh, this is not complicated enough for my chaotic brain. I need like more things going on in the game.
I need more chaos. No, I love this one because I love like bluffing. Like I had even pitched the idea to you where one of our 10 plays, we can even play an 11th, I don't care, should be where we kind of bluff. Like maybe we take more than a few coins. Or, you know, to see if the other person catches it. And if the other person catches it, you have to get rid of all your coins.
Like add our like own game within the game.
Yes! I think it'd be so much fun.
I'll tell you, I'm not good at bluffing games. For some reason, it's fun doing that with you. Like social deduction games like the Resistance, we have on our shelf, and I would love to play that game with you with a group of people. But anytime I have to lie in a game, it gives me it's another anxiety inducer because I don't know. I don't like to lie in real life. I'm a pretty honest person, and I don't like to be in a game where I have to lie to somebody's face. But sometimes it's fun. If you're with the right group of people, bluffing, social deduction, games like that can be a lot of fun. And,
see, that's why I never challenged you, because I was just like, no, he's telling the truth.
Yeah, the thing is, you could play the game being completely truthful the whole time. Or you could lie with every card you put down. It's up to you. And I like games that give you that ability to be flexible in your approach and do different things.
Yes.
So I had fun with this. Is this a...
It is indeed a game that will stay on the shelf of curiosities.
Bestowed upon the jester's shelf?
Yes, it can be bestowed.
Yeah. Not quite. It's not like a 10x10 challenge kind of game, but you know, we have...
It's like a palate cleanser.
Palate cleanser.
Yay.
Yeah, in between things, we want just to have a good time. Or even if we had friends over or something, wanted to play something light.
You could even take this on vacation.
Yeah. Play with strangers.
Play with strangers? Why do you have to say play with strangers?
You want to play a game.
Oh my god.
Approach somebody in a dark alley, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so definitely keep it to play. Bestowed on the shelf of Jester Cheer. I feel like you sounded so cheerful saying that. Which leads us into...
our update.
On Ark Nova.
Yeah, which had begun, you know, we talked about...
the backstory.
We talked about the backstory. We
talked about... Jester's Gambit. So we discussed... Dave had introduced the story, saw if I wanted to play, and then we had played it 3 times. In the... Jester's Gambit of this, you'll get the first impressions, first play, and then, of course, after the final 9. And they'll be all in one episode, which we are recording. And then even if we end up not bringing something to the Jester's Gambit, our first impressions and our first playthrough will be found on our Patreon, so that you can still hear things like that if that's a game that you're interested in and you wonder why we decided to not go with a Jester's Gambit on that. But for Ark Nova, we had decided to go through with conducting a Jester's Gambit for this due to it, well, it's physically a large game. It's just a large game. It takes up our whole table.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not kidding. Maybe we have a small table. I don't know. We like to eat close, I guess. But either way, the game takes up the whole thing. And then it's also a longer game. So after the 3 plays, we do feel that there's still some things that we can't discover in this game. If you haven't played Ark Nova, the animal deck, the playing deck, because it's not all animals. There's
sponsor
other things
cards,
in there, yeah.
Conservation cards and all kinds of stuff.
But the player cards, or playing cards, game cards, that deck is huge. So
massive.
We don't feel that we can say... yay or nay to it after 3 games. So that is why we are bringing it into the Jester's Gambit. And of course, there's animals. I love animals. I'm sure there's an animal in there that will remind me of Lupin. I'm sure there's the creepy bird that I really like that freaks Dave out. Yeah, the shoebill stork. Yeah. Yep. I'm sure that's in there that I haven't seen yet because we haven't looked through all the cards. We just put it together and just played the 3 games.
We did see the guinea pig, so that was awesome.
Yes, we saw the guinea pig somehow all games.
Yeah.
I don't understand how because shuffles the deck, but somehow.
The guinea pig always comes
and it always comes on Dave's side.
Yeah.
Even when I discard it, he somehow gets a card where he could shuffle the discard pile and then draw 1, and he still somehow gets it in that randomized draw.
It's just meant to be. It's like the universe is trying to bring the guinea pigs to our home.
And I love that it's a petting zoo, too, so you can go ahead and pet it if you want.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so for that reason, just due to sheer size of it, the deck size, the different items about it, because the sponsors kind of do different things. Well, kind of. They all do different things. And just the map aspect. We want to give it a fair go at the Jester's Gambit.
Yeah, so we'll play a handful more games until we get to at least 10.
Yep.
And then at that point, we'll discuss whether it'll have a place on the Jester's shelf or be given a polite nod, or how we phrase
polite
it.
nod.
Excuse from the court.
A polite excuse from the town.
But that episode, it may be next week when you're listening to this. It takes a while to play through 10 rounds of a game like this and then piece it together. But I'm excited for you to hear that episode and hear how our thoughts will have evolved in that game by the end of 10 plays, at least. So.
And if you're impatient and you want to hear our thoughts earlier than the public, you can feel free to go to our Patreon. I have plugged that so much today in this episode. I'm sorry. But if you haven't checked out my whale video, it's still up.
She's still going to plug that.
I'm going to plug that because that thing took me forever to do. So proud of it. No one has said a single thing. That's okay.
I'll make some fake accounts and go on there and start commenting, this is the best video I've ever seen.
I don't need fakes. Okay. It's either they love it or they don't. And if they don't, that's okay. I love it, and that's what matters. And Lupin loves it by default. So, yeah. So be sure to join us for that. And next week. I don't know what we're going to do next week, if we're going to be done with Ark Nova or not, just because it is a behemoth. But yeah.
So once a day kind of game.
Definitely. So thank you for joining us in the court this week. It means the world to us fools over here at Dice Jesters. If you'd like to see pictures of games we're playing, those can be found on our Instagram. Our Instagram is Dice Jesters. I also have some YouTube stuff. Julie Jambles, okay? That is a real word, just so you know.
Kind of. This is blurry, but yeah.
And that can be found on primarily Patreon. Like, I just kind of jamble about anything. I don't know. I like hit record and then just start talking. But our YouTube kind of has similar ones where I give like top fives or just kind of terminology that may confuse me or that I am not familiar with. So you can find some of those on YouTube. Otherwise, head over to the other space. I won't say it again. But yeah. So again, thank you so much for joining us this week. And as always, play games with the ones you love.